to move on with a different topic, and the topic is social media. So let's see if it's as interesting as organ donors, organ donations or organ trafficking. This is a way to highlight social media by sharing with you the Twitter or one of the Twitter accounts of the IFKF World Kidney Alliance. I'd like to also acknowledge our friend who is not with us, Carlos from Mexico, who played some important roles among others. So when I was involved in the World Kidney Day, the last three ones, if you look at here, when I was in 2020, 21, and 22, World Kidney Day prevention, living well with kidney disease, and health literacy. And then later on, we have had three more topics. I'm not going to talk about them because I'd like to use the three of the themes of the World Kidney Day as a way to see if the engagement of social media would be appropriate. That means prevention, which has primary, secondary, and tertiary prevention types. Living well with kidney disease. At that time, SF and I worked together in Honolulu, Hawaii. We had a conference and it was published, well received. The paper has been so well received and highly cited. But then in 2022, the theme of the World Kidney Day, which was also chosen actually collaboratively by us and ISN, was the focus was health literacy. So health literacy, that means how we can ensure that people know what they're talking about when they're talking about the disease state, and across so many different cultures. And different cultures, with that I mean diversity. In the US, the keyword diversity is being now replaced by pluralism, which is almost the same. It doesn't matter, diversity, pluralism. But if you look at the yellow highlighted one, what Dr. Ann Bonner from, who was our special contributor from Australia said, that we should look at health literacy provision of education similar to universal precaution, the same way that we don't say that, hey, you know how to wash your hands, I'm not going to talk to you, I just talk to someone who doesn't know. We provide that education to everybody, and she believes that we must provide the education on health literacy to everybody. And what is the best way to do this other than social media? Now, social media, we can define what it is, what it's not, but it's very difficult right now to have a universal definition. I'd like to share with you this slide. What is the most effective social media on earth? What is this? Look at here now, we have Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and it turns out that 3 billion people on earth have a Facebook account. Wow. We have 8 billion people, imagine. That means almost half of all adults, if not more than half, they have access to Facebook. So look at the last one. It says, so what about LinkedIn? Because a lot of colleagues here are professional people. Almost everybody has some LinkedIn. The answer is LinkedIn is not even the top 20. Now, how come all of us, or most of us, or some of us have LinkedIn? Well, in the US it's number 5. It's not even number 1. But that shows already the discrepancy across different cultures and different regions on earth. If you look at also social media, how it is distributed, as you can see, some countries, blue means Facebook. So Facebook is still number 1. Facebook is number 1 social media platform, but in China it's WeChat. In Russia it's different. In some other countries, if we go back here, it's Instagram. Very popular, actually. Instagram is number 1 platform in many countries. So we need to know, therefore, who we are talking to. So I'm not here to push for Facebook, and even those who used to use Twitter or Blue Sky or through social, whatever, those are great things. Maybe some nephrologists are using this, but if our target audience, our health education or fundraising, we need to see who uses which social media. So now, we tried in that paper, World Kidney Day, to summarize social media pros and cons, strengths, limitations, additional comments. Facebook, for example, we said that it's widely used for entertaining purposes, right? You used to put your family photos there, and now as you can see, actually still one of them is not listed here, but it was listed in the other one was WhatsApp. So many of us today we receive a lot of WhatsApp messages from each other, and therefore, now some people may say that I don't need social media, and I put here something similar that in 1980 some people say I never ever get credit card, or I never will have a mobile phone. I'm against that. I will never have email address. I'm against email address. But now, I'm not saying that social media is a must, but if you're resisting this, or if you have concerns, so it's time to see what you can do with social media. Social media was created for social purposes, but it has transformed into platform for educations, including for health literacy. So IFKF, ISN, all of them, anybody who wants to be effective needs to have those effective ones. Of course, I can hire somebody to run social media for me, but I need to understand some of the basics of this. Like as a nephrologist, you don't do surgery, you don't go to the OR to connect or to do transplant surgery, but you need to understand how it's run. Now, value of social media, information sharing, that's very important. We share information. Social media democratize the spread of information so that nobody can say, I'm an owner of the information. I mean, of course, we still can say that. It brings communities together. It leads to transparency. I think Dr. Abdul Latif very astutely said, transparency builds trust, right? Isn't it what he said? It was wonderful. Transparency. Being transparent, essentially, our credibility goes through the roof. And reduces cost. Imagine you want to hire somebody to create your website, not social media, you can do it for free. And you can raise funds. There are people at high school level or college age, and they are millionaires just by having some website. So you can do a lot of great things, and you make yourself likable. And here, a great person says that if you can fly, run. If you can run, walk. If you can walk, crawl. Just do something to show that you are getting engaged. Okay, so what's the risk? Oh my God, bad things could happen, right? This woman was fired. I can tell this so much. Sadly, quite a few people we had to fire just because they said that Dr. Kalantar, this dialysis nurse, put something on her Facebook, like blood on the wall in the dialysis unit. Sadly, there is zero tolerance. So we need to be careful, but I would say it's similar to driving a car. You need to be careful not to kill somebody by driving a car. If you do it correctly, you're effective. Privacy and protections, you can't just go and yell at somebody or discredit somebody, or of course you can do all these things, but confidentiality, privileged information should be taking care of. Job security and careers. You can't go after people's reputation, but of course you can. Careless and disrespectful languages. So therefore, we need to have different codes of conduct. And going back again to the keyword likability, you make yourself likable. So you want to ask money, you must be likable. Who's going to give money to somebody or some institution or some organization that is not liked, right? And if I say, wow, IFKF, wow, it's so popular. Let's give millions of dollars to IFKF. So that social media is a way to make ourselves likable. Likable for youngers, olders, across different leverages, vast leverage, make us likable among patient groups. Think about this, for example, somebody unknown from Guatemala went to made the largest impact at IFKF and ISN. Nobody was able to do this. Somebody did this from Guatemala. And then we weren't part of that, but ISN wasn't part of that either. But ISN suddenly said, oh, we did all these things and got credit to that. So that's how to learn. So good for them. I acknowledge them for being able to get credit out of something that was done by somebody else, right? In a correct way, of course, in a credible way, so good for them. Now, World Kidney Day has different social media, 90,000 followers, 25,000, 15,000. But what about IFKF? IFKF has a number of social media, but we need to be better organized, more uniform. For example, on the Twitter account, we have 3 Twitter websites, 3 Twitter platforms. And we have not been able to merge them into one. Or Facebook also, we have I think 2 to 3 different Facebook accounts. The World Kidney Day has a social media toolkit, so please take a look and use this, but most people probably are aware of how to use it. Now, you may say that some things don't need social media. For example, I was invited to write a paper in Lancet about chronic kidney disease and also relate this to dietary management of chronic kidney disease. And I said that, look, Lancet paper is already being cited, you don't need to do anything, but I still went to my own social media and highlighted the paper because I want more people to be aware of that and to like the paper. Or look at this example. SF came up to his credit with the World Kidney recipes, and we put it on our social media at IFKF, and it was so well received. It was one of the most popular themes among others. So that's one way we can make ourselves likable and effective. Now, I was supposed to relate these World Kidney recipes to diet and nutrition because, in my opinion, it's another effective way to be effective and to be educational and to do win-win stuff. And I think the slides are relocated. Sorry about this. There was a slide about Play-Doh or plant-dominant low-protein diet. And then we have to talk about gluten-free Play-Doh. That means what it means. There are data suggesting that not every vegetarian food is healthy, but if it's gluten-free, for instance, is healthier. And then one of my mentees and Dr. Shimon Joshi, they put together this review, plant-dominant gluten-free diet for IgA nephropathy. Wow, right? And the moment we posted this on social media, the same day we got 61 likes. Right? So that suggests that the topic is relatively to very interesting. So that was the plant-dominant low-protein diet slide that should have come first, and different types of this, including gluten-free parts, because you can't say vegetarian diet is good. Sugar is also vegetable, right? Is it healthy? So we need to be specific. Now, healthier kidneys through your vision. And here, different ways to highlight this, and also for myself, when I get interviewed or when there are interesting topic, I try to carefully, but sometimes more aggressively post them in my social media. So and these are different ways. I'd like also to highlight one important impact that IFKF had under Gamal, and that was in December of 2016. We had Cairo conference, and we managed actually to publish a nice paper out of that. And then we went to the country with the highest probably burden of hepatitis C, and this amazing country turned around that. And at that time, we predicted this, and as you can see, a number of colleagues who are here are co-authors of the paper, and this is something that we failed to highlight this in our social media. We should have done a better job, and I'd like to appreciate African Journal of Nephrology, which was the journal, accept this paper, is in PubMed and everything else. So, I'm pretty much done with my presentation today, and I hope I have led to some inspiration or some interest in social media. And on the topic of the diet, I would like to highlight two interesting statements. When diet is wrong, medicine of no use. Wow, who said that? 5,000 years ago, where Lata comes from. It's amazing, Ayurveda school. And the other one, no disease that can be treated by diet should be treated with any other means. Maimonides, 800 years ago. So these are interesting things to find across diverse cultures and to highlight them and to relate them to some of the activities that we are doing and eventually relate them to fundraising. So in summary, being able to assess, understand, and use health information related to CKD and its treatment is a right of patients and caregivers worldwide. That means right to health literacy. And for us to provide correct education and education to all, to everybody, assuming, according to Dr. Professor Ann Bonner, that it has to be provided to everybody. Social media can be effective in providing health information. All the best evidence health literacy strategies should be used. Nutrition and diet education can be promoted by social media as a way to make us more likable, as a way to make us more relevant, and as a way to be able to connect to people, to those who we are supposed to serve. And the example is plant-dominant low-protein diet, different types of low-protein diets, and other interesting discussions that we had actually yesterday. And improving communication on popular themes using social media will hopefully provide support for IFKF and IFKF goals, as we'll discuss today. These are my social media. Of course, I don't have time to update them all every day. In fact, in the recent years, I have less time. And with that, I would like to thank colleagues. Thank you very much.